What is up? It is Maximus MMA bringing you my lock of the week for UFC Serbia. Look, I've been working like a slave this week, okay, so I'm going to keep this one really short and sweet. Next week, with the Gamrot and Salkild card, I really have some spots that I like already looking ahead, so super excited for next week. However, this week, I told you guys on my full card breakdown, right? This is a tricky week, right? There's a lot of really wide favorites that probably shouldn't be as big of favorites as they are. There's also like a lot of, I think there's like 9 UFC debuts on this card. Okay, at least the one I recorded my prediction video, I believe that was the number. So, as the week's gone on, I've kind of thought, let me just take a swing at something. It'll still count as an official lock of the week. I'm not trying to downplay it, okay? But let me take a swing at something great, right? Because there are some fights where I think they're just a little bit wide, man. So, without further ado, the lock of the week.
8 losses, with 8 wins coming by way of knockout and 4 by submission. Ladies and gentlemen, Kyle Killshot Prepolek.
And there you have it. We're going with Kyle Prepolek to get a victory over Mateusz Rebecki. Look, Kyle Prepolek is a plus 500 underdog. And to me, that makes no sense, man. I mean, Kyle Prepolek in the UFC came in off the regional scene a year ago. He lost to Benoit Saint Denis, who's ranked in the top 5, 6 at lightweight. And he lost to Drew Dober, a fight where he was a massive underdog as well. A fight where he was winning until Drew Dober took a timeout, was able to regain his energy, and ended up landing a big shot. Look, Mateusz Rebecki, I understand that Mateusz Rebecki is a very good fighter, right? But he is 1-4 in his last 5. And for a guy that's 1-4 in his last 5 to be minus 700? Come on! Especially a guy like Kyle Prepolek, who was winning until he wasn't against Drew Dober. But again, that whole timeout in the action really is what lost Kyle Prepolek that fight. I mean, he was coasting until then. Mateusz Rebecki, man, just wears damage so bad, and I saw Kyle Prepolek dot up Drew Dober just 9 months ago. And yeah, eventually Drew Dober did land the power punch, but is Mateusz Rebecki the same kind of power puncher that Drew Dober is? I don't think so, man. I really think that Kyle Prepolek has got a good chance to win this fight. Perhaps Rebecki could expose some holes in the grappling, but if this fight's on the feet, Kyle Prepolek's got a 4-inch reach advantage, a 3-inch height advantage, and he really fights well off of a long jab. That's what Rebecki has struggled with his entire career, man. So, I'm going to pick Kyle Prepolek here on a limb. It is the official lock of the week. It'll account for the same. Obviously, he's a really big underdog, so I'm not saying to bet the farm. That is one of the positives of picking a plus 500 underdog, is that you don't have to throw too much cheddar on it to still get a nice little payout in return when Kyle Prepolek inevitably wins at UFC Serbia. So, I'm really liking this pick. I can't believe that according to Tapology, only 7% of people are picking him. I think a lot of people are just saying, look, Mateusz Rebecki's been around in the UFC for a long time. And Kyle Prepolek hasn't won in the UFC, so let's just pick Mateusz. Dude, I think if you look into this fight a little bit more, I think there's a lot to like for Kyle Prepolek. A guy who has fought Benoit Saint Denis, who's a lead at lightweight, and then an absolute veteran as they come in Drew Dober. And yes, Mateusz Rebecki's a veteran, but I don't know, man. Losing 4 to your last 5, and now you're taking a guy who I know has a good jab, fights well behind kicks at range. And Mateusz Rebecki, man, he gets cut up worse than anybody in the entire UFC. I'd say he was tied with the Diaz brothers, but now that they're done, I mean, who gets cut off of less seemingly damaging shots than Mateusz Rebecki? I mean, no matter what, if this fight goes into the second round, Mateusz Rebecki's going to be busted up, man. Even if he's winning, even if he wins the first round, he's going to look like he lost on his face. So I'm going to take a swing at Kyle Prepolek here to get this fight done. Does he get it done by KO or decision? I think it could be KO or decision. Honestly, the method of victory, I could see it either way, man, but I'm probably going to lean decision. But Doctor Stoppage is live, too, with Mateusz Rebecki. Plus, whenever we're going somewhere like a Serbia, meaning the first time we've ever been to Serbia in UFC's history, you have to think there might be some weird things with the commission there. So I also kind of like the fact that we're in Serbia. Like, I don't have any true evidence to suggest that their doctors are more likely to stop the fight. But at the same time, we have seen inexperienced commissions want to stop fights before off of damage that would be allowed to continue, no problem, no questions asked, in Vegas. So to me, it's just the logical shot here to take on Kyle Prepolek to get this fight done on Saturday. It's another morning time card in the States, and whatever time it starts out in Serbia, I'll be watching Kyle Prepolek to get the fight done, plus 500 underdog. We're taking a swing. As always, it was Maximus MMA. This is the pick of the week. Please like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. Next week, we have a much stronger UFC card. Saw me making a little bit more content I did this week. Again, I was working a lot, so I apologize for that. But as always, I will see you in the next one.